With a departure from WWE and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Asked about her departure from WWE, AEW TBS champion Mercedes Moné told WFAN, "For so many years, everyone wants the tea on that drama. You're not going to get it unless you buy the book maybe 10 years later." On Backstage Issues, she said, "For me, I went from a legit boss to a CEO because I wanted to grow. There was something in my soul that said, you need to grow. I wanted to be the CEO of my own life. There was a light source that came into my heart that day. You have to do what's right for you. What's happening right now at this moment is not right. You have to take your life in your hands and go make it happen. Go make your heart happy. Go let them know that what they're doing right now is wrong and show them." I did. I had to let them know that I am the right one that you messed with that day, and now here I am today, one of the highest paid women in women's wrestling history, the TBS champion, going after the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. I get to do so much of my dreams because of that day that I walked out and trusted my heart. When it comes to a potential return to action to AEW for Britt Baker, president of the company, Tony Khan, noted on the Forbidden Door media call, "I'm really excited about Britt Baker being close to ready for a return to AEW. She's been out with an injury and was not cleared to wrestle. I do expect that sometime soon she could return. I would absolutely love that. I'm very excited about getting all of our top stars back. It's been great having MJF back. So many top stars had been away. It's going to feel amazing when we have great stars. Britt Baker is a great example. It will be great to have the Doctor back in AEW. So many other great former champions, including Jamie Hayter, Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, and many other great wrestlers we can't wait to have back here in AEW. For me, I know that Dr. Britt Baker and fans all over the world will be excited to see her return. I'm glad she's going to be cleared to return very soon." Tony Khan also addressed the possibility of continuing to work with Stardom following the Forbidden Door event, as he said, "Yes, absolutely. We have lots of plans with Stardom, and I'm really excited about working so closely with the promotion this year. Stardom has the same parent company as New Japan Pro Wrestling, Bushiroad. I had been looking to work with Stardom for a long time. This current management has been such a great pleasure to work with. It's been great for the wrestlers in AEW and Stardom, and also the fans of either or both promotions that we've been working together so closely, putting together great matches, bringing the talent back and forth. I look to bring Stardom talent regularly to AEW. Right now, we're in a position where a Stardom wrestler, Mina Shirakawa, could very well be the AEW Women's World Champion. She has a great chance and is a fantastic representative of not only Stardom, but also AEW. I would love to have Mina as the champion. I also love having Toni Storm as the champion, and it's one of the reasons why I'm excited for the match. I want to continue to work with Stardom closely. One of their wrestlers may be the world champion here, which can be a great thing. We'll continue to see wrestlers from Stardom in AEW, top stars, and also continue to bring young wrestlers over. I'd like to continue to have Stardom involved with Ring of Honor as well. In addition to bringing Stardom wrestlers into AEW, you could see a lot of AEW wrestlers traveling to Stardom, and we're working on that. Wrestlers are working on getting their visas, and it's something we're excited about. Recalling the time she trained women's wrestlers in AEW, Madusa mentioned this on her YouTube channel. I don't know if the girls train at AEW. I know when I was there that first time, I was there for a couple of days, and they had open training because they had a ring there. Dustin was training the girls, and he's like, "Oh my god, Deuce, I'm so glad you're here. Do you want to come to practice?" I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. I said, I'll just sit out here. And he goes, yeah. Do you want to help train the girls? And I said, I'm honored, but I'm just here. For me to come in and start throwing my weight around, I don't think it's cool. I said, you're leading this, so if you want me to talk to the girls and let them know that I'm open, if they want to come over for any suggestions and stuff like that, absolutely. I said, I think the best thing is the kids are here, and the ones that aren't in the ring training, the best way to learn is actually to sit outside the ring and watch and listen. And he's like, of course, he gets it. Yeah. So we were getting ready to start, and I'm like, where's everybody? And he's like, well, it's voluntary. And I'm like, so it's free? You got Dustin Rhodes training the girls. Where are they? Why aren't they here? And I was a little baffled. He's like, D, it's the kids. What am I going to say? It's the new kids of today. And I'm like, well, okay. That was respectfully said. I get it, but isn't it mandatory? I mean, half or more of them are under contracts. They're getting paid. Shouldn't they just be here to show up too? I'm like, because back then the girls' work sucked. It was a show, man. They were all basically learning, and no bad things to them. There was just no direction. Who wouldn't take advantage of that? So anyway, I went and I was talking, and then the next day I saw some girls and they walked out, and I'm like, oh my god, hi, how are you? And they're like, oh hi, nice to meet you, Madusa. And I said, great, we had practice yesterday, we have it now, are you coming? And she turned to me and said, practice? I don't have to go. And I said, what do you mean you don't have to go? She said, I'm on the injured list. I looked at her and she had her makeup all done. She's walking just fine. Everything's fine. But sometimes internally, you just don't know. She goes, yeah, I have a doctor's note. I don't need to go. I don't have to practice. And I said, well, you look great to me. Why can't you sit outside the ring and learn something? She goes, it's voluntary and I don't need to show. I'm not saying this person's name for a reason because I'll mention it probably later in another episode, but it really opened my eyes to how the women, not all of them, may look at this business as a meal ticket, as money only, or do they really respect it? Are they that much of a you know what I'm saying? Mentioning the idea of Cody Rhodes turning heel, Eric Bischoff noted on his 83 Weeks podcast, I've been thinking about it. I have an idea in my head. It's not a big idea. It's not an angle. It's all about the transition. Typically, going from babyface to heel is an abrupt transition, like all of a sudden, right? But I see it differently in my head. I almost texted Cody this the other day. In fact, I will. Cody, if you're listening to this, if there's ever a conversation about you turning heel and it starts to get a little bit real, give me 20 minutes before you make a decision. Give me 20 minutes just to add a little bit of something to make it special. So yeah, I think, look, is it gonna happen? I don't know. I don't talk to anybody, but if it does, I'd like 20 minutes of Cody's time. If he turns, I've got a little something, and it's so subtle, but it would be so effective. Talk about using real-life scenarios in storylines for WWE. Chief Content Officer for the company, Triple H, told the Pat McAfee show, our fan base is so ravenous for content. There is nothing else that episodically airs. I say this a lot, we're not a sport. We're a movie about a sport or a TV show about a sport. The interest of all the other things happening are just as great as what happens in the ring. People are so interested in not only those storylines, but who are the real people behind these storylines, the drama behind it. If you're younger or want to buy into it that much, the drama of the storylines. If you're in a different mindset, the drama of what is happening behind the scenes. Is that guy leaving? Has he signed a contract? Is he going to stay? I heard he has problems with management. They're trying to restrict his style. Whatever your mindset is, you can go there and follow up with it on a regular basis. The content is easy to watch and easy to understand. You can sit on a bus or train and watch clips. During a live stream, Dakota Kai talked about wanting an opportunity as a singles competitor in WWE.
If I don't win on Monday, we riot. Guys! I've never had like an opportunity as a singles competitor on a PLE. And I'm not talking about NXT. You know what I mean? CW Sober, thank you for the 3 months. I don't know. I'm getting like, you know that feeling where you're just like, give me an opportunity, please, anything. I'm crying. I'm crying because I'm so emotional about this. No, it's my allergies. I'm not actually crying. But seriously, come on now. Freaking get behind me, bro.
In some unfortunate news, Will Ospreay would announce the passing of his grandmother, writing on Instagram, "Night before Dynamite and Collision tapings, I was given the unfortunate news that my nanny Patsy had passed. Heart is completely broken that I'm on the other side of the planet and can't be there for my beautiful mom and my granddad. I cannot begin to tell you how this woman and my granddad are the embodiment of what I've always wanted to be when I get older. They met when they were teenagers and have stuck together by each other's sides, just ripping the piss out of one another and smiling whilst doing it. Hearing her little laugh will always bring a smile to my face, and I'm sad that I won't ever hear that again, but I'll cherish every little memory I had with you, as both you and Granddad have helped play a role in who I want to be right now. Thank you so much for every little bit of support and love that you gave me. Sorry for bringing in a dead mouse into your kitchen when I was little. I'll always love you, Nanny Patsy. Thank you to everyone backstage and keeping me busy and my mind off this, and those who have reached out. I cannot tell you enough how much I appreciate the emotional support right now. All my love." Going over the contract status of the Hardy Boys in TNA Wrestling, Ringside News noted that, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, both Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy are currently working in TNA Wrestling as free agents without formal contracts. Many within TNA expected the charismatic Enigma to join, but the confirmation only came shortly before the event. Matt Hardy's agreement with TNA was initially intended to be short-term, but additional dates and plans have since been discussed. There have also been creative pitches for Matt's wife, Rebby Hardy, to participate in a match, although this has not been confirmed. There have been no recent extended negotiations between the Hardys and AEW, but sources suggest that the possibility of future collaboration remains open. Sources within TNA expressed their satisfaction with the post-show speech delivered by the Hardys, Nick Nemeth, and Joe Hendry, highlighting the positive reception of their return. Announcing the unfortunate passing of a member of their company, AEW wrote this on X. "With great sadness, AEW mourns the passing of Gunter Zapp, a member of Germany's announced team for many years. He will be dearly missed." With Drew McIntyre giving his public endorsement to him recently, TNA's Joe Hendry said this to Chris Van Vliet on Inside in response. "I appreciated that, I really did. That means a lot because, again, I've said this as well, I'm going to compare him to someone you met recently, which is to me on the UK Indies. Drew was our Undertaker. He was the guy you went to. He lifted the shows. He was an example. To me, he is just like Jordan Grace. Like Drew is an example inside and outside of the ring. I was absolutely honored for him to say that, especially when this was his moment, and to even just take a second to say that he knew how big that endorsement was going to be for me. So I'm always grateful for having worked with Drew. Unbelievable wrestler, unbelievable human being. Just, you know, him and Jordan are credits to the business." Touching on the potential of Bron Breakker in WWE, Hulk Hogan told Sportskeeda, "He's something else. He's wise beyond his years. To be that intense and to know that the red light is on and be able to stay in that zone, it's very impressive. If they do the right thing with him, that could be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rock, or Hulk Hogan. He could be the guy." Asked if he saw similarities between Bill Goldberg and Breakker, Hogan replied, "A lot of similarities. He has that extra spice. Bill had a certain thing, I had a certain thing, Rock had a certain thing. Bron Breakker has all of the above, plus he has a little extra spice on his plate. He's ramped it up, and he's just getting started. I can't even imagine what's going to happen when he really figures it out. He's beyond the quick kill protection. He can go, from what I see. He's been broken the correct way. He's put time in. He's ready to go. Moving forward, I hope he learns and picks up more wisdom. Some guys are in the business for 15 to 20 years. They think they're smart and they're main event guys, but they never figure it out. I hope Bron Breakker figures it out. If he does, he's going to be hard to deal with. It appears as though Dijak will be leaving WWE as he posted this picture of a note to X. It reads, "Here's the truth, WWE never negotiated with me. We attempted to negotiate and they stonewalled us. They never made me a single offer. Then they informed me they would not renew my contract at the 11th hour. 2 months ago, I was in one of the best matches in NXT history and a top match of WrestleMania weekend. On that day, a top executive in WWE told me I was crushing it. I was slated to feud for the NXT title, but got called up to Raw instead. I consistently outperformed everyone's expectations, especially throughout 2023 and early 2024. I never complained about anything or was difficult to work with. I tirelessly pitched ideas to anyone who would listen as recently as the day before I was notified. I never once missed a booking, and I was injured one time in 7 years for 3 months. I'm thankful, disappointed, but also excited. This has lit a fire under me to relentlessly prove myself to the world. All I ever wanted was a fair shot, and now I have the opportunity to go out and take it. That's enough talk. Now it's time to do or Dijak. My last day under a WWE contract is June 28th, 2024. Get ready to feast your eyes. Donovan Dijak." Ringside News added that, according to Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp, Dijak was notified that WWE would not be re-signing him following his WWE Speed match with Xavier Woods, which was filmed in the last 2 weeks. However, the exact timing of WWE's decision remains unclear. Corey Brennan of Fightful learned from various WWE and NXT sources that Dijak was well liked and praised by officials. Dijak confirmed in his tweet that he was initially set to challenge for the NXT title before being unexpectedly called up to Monday Night Raw during the WWE draft. It is reported that Shawn Michaels was a significant supporter of Dijak despite minor creative disagreements in the past. Michaels even called Dijak directly to welcome him back to NXT, where Dijak would train for weeks at a time despite living in New Hampshire. Questions about why Dijak was not regularly featured on Raw remain unanswered. Talent and sources within WWE expressed surprise at Dijak's limited on-screen presence. Dijak himself told Sapp that he sensed something was wrong when he wasn't included in plans for Raw in the weeks following the draft. Since his call-up, there were several instances where Dijak was not brought to tapings, and when he was, his plans were often shifted between main event and speed tapings without a spot on Raw. Reports indicate that there were no creative plans in place for him when he was called up. Sources close to Dijak indicated that early negotiations had begun recently and were positive. However, WWE did not follow up until notifying Dijak that his contract would not be renewed, with no serious negotiations taking place. This lack of negotiation surprised many within the industry, with one former WWE talent noting that 20 years ago, Dijak would have had a job till his legs fell off. Interest in Dijak remains high both within and outside professional wrestling. At least 2 European promotions are expected to reach out for possible appearances, and major companies have already contacted Dijak's management to gauge interest. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.